Hiya and welcome to the Teen Whisperer, the podcast for mums of teen girls who are trying their best to figure out this whole teenager thing without completely losing the plot. I'm Rach Friedley and I help mums, just like you, build stronger, more connected relationships with your daughters by understanding what's really going on beneath all those, eye rolls and slam doors in your face. And yeah, I'm a mum, so I know exactly how you're feeling. So here's a question for you. As we head into mock exam season, how's your daughter holding up? Is she locked in her room 24/7, leaving you wondering whether she's actually eating or sleeping? Or is she so busy ignoring her books that you're questioning even if she knows what subject she's even studying? Yeah, don't worry, you're not alone. This week we're talking about the huge academic pressure our girls face and the toll it can take on their mental health. I'll be diving deep into the why it shows up the way it does and what's really happening in her body, her brain, and of course those all-important emotions. And yep, I'll give you 5 practical tips to help her feel supported right now. And just so you know, this is a judgment-free zone. If your daughter's been binge watching Netflix or even social media instead of revising and you're tearing your hair out, we've all been there. Let's get into it. So academic pressure has a sneaky way of showing up in all sorts of behaviours. And let me tell you, none of them make much sense at first glance. So maybe your daughter's super snappy and every little tiny weeny thing sets her off. Or maybe she's shutting herself away in her room, saying that she's revising, in inverted commas, but you know full well she's scrolling TikTok. Or, on the flip side, she could be revising like her life depends on it and stressing you out in the process as you recognise she's not sleeping, she's not eating, she's not drinking, and she's not spending time with any friends or anyone else for that matter. Physically, you might notice things like headaches, stomach aches, or trouble sleeping. Not eating, as I've just said, not drinking, snappyish, and emotionally, tears over everything, like not having the right highlighter colour for her notes. Yep, been there, done that. So why does academic pressure have this effect? So let's talk science. Let's talk the physiology. So when your daughter feels stressed out about exams, her brain triggers the fight or flight response, flooding her system with cortisol, which we all know is a stress hormone. This can make her feel on edge, overwhelmed, or just plain stuck. She's more likely to burst into tears, scream and shout, barricade herself into a room, shut you out of the house. She hasn't got a clue what's going on, and more often than not can feel like a failure. So her prefrontal cortex, that part of her brain responsible for planning and decision making, basically checks out when cortisol levels are high. So if you've ever found yourself wondering why she just can't get her act together and make a revision plan, it's not that she won't, it's that her brain is literally struggling to cope. And add to that is the fact that that prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for emotional regulation, organisation, risk assessment and decision making, doesn't come fully online in their mid-20s. It's not just that her brain is struggling, it's because it's not fully developed. And emotionally, it's all tied into how she sees herself. A lot of girls equate their worth with their grades. So if she's feeling the pressure, failing, or even the thought of it can feel like the end of the world and her life. And if you add to this perfectionism, which means they think they have to get it right the first time round, and if they're not, they're a failure. And sometimes that fear of failure is so strong that they won't even try, as it's better to think they're not good than to be actually told they're not. Yes, I know, confusing, eh? But as adults, we have the benefit of logic, which again is missing in the teenage brain. They can only see what's happening right now. They can't see how it'll affect them in the future. So here's a statistic to chew on. Never great with that word. According to the Girls Index, 65%, yes, you did hear me correctly, of teenage girls pressure themselves to be perfect, with 79% feel so much under pressure that they're going to explode. The National Education Union reports 83% of UK students say academic pressure negatively impacts their mental health. It's not just your daughter, it's a whole generation of girls trying to work their way through a system that doesn't often support their emotional needs. So what can you do to help your daughter through this without pulling your hair out? So glad you asked. Let's get practical. Number 1, calm your own stress first. So here's the hard, dark truth. If you're stressed out about her exams, she's going to pick up on it. There's no escaping it. If you come into the room soothing because you're so stressed but putting a smile on your face, she's going to see through it. She's going to see the smile, but she's also going to feel that energy inside you, that anxious energy, and she's going to get really confused. So for you, take a deep breath. Focus on how it is affecting you. Process that. And then remind yourself that those mock exams, yes, are important, but they're not the be-all and end-it-all. Number 2, acknowledge her feelings. Instead of jumping in with, you need to revise more, or just get on with it. Start with, I can see you're feeling stressed. So let's figure this out together. It's amazing how much a difference, a bit of empathy and a wee tweak of those words can make her feel. Number 3, help her break it down. Big exams can feel like trying to climb Everest with no map. She needs your help, even if she doesn't ask for it, to break those steps into smaller, or to break that Everest into smaller, more manageable steps. Today's goal might be just revising one subject for 20 minutes. That's it. Number 4, encourage proper breaks. A study marathon might sound productive, but her brain will thank you for a proper break. Suggest a 5-minute break every hour. And yes, you heard me correctly, for something like a little walk around the house, to get up off her seat, to walk around. Even have a mini dance party in the kitchen. Yep, I've been known to embarrass myself this way quite a few times. Or even a quick snack. Or just to sit on a bench outside in the daylight. And number 5, celebrate those small wins. Maybe she didn't get through all her notes, but she sat down and she tried. Celebrate that effort, not the big ones. Progress matters more than perfection. Let her know that. So if you're loving these tips and want to dive deeper into building your daughter's emotional resilience, go back and check out the episode on revision in the exam season that I did back in 23. So it starts on 26th of April. It's back in my old podcast. So still the Teen Whisperer, but it's on a different host. So it's packed with practical advice that you can that you can use alongside what we've talked about today. So that's a wrap for this week. Academic pressure is tough for your daughter and for you, but with the right support, it's something you can tackle together. Remember, the Teen Whisperer is all about understanding what's really going on for your daughter and for you, so you can both connect more deeply and face challenges as a team together. So let's be proactive rather than reactive, mums. If you found this episode helpful, please hit subscribe, leave a review or share it with another mum who needs to hear it. And don't forget to head over to my website at the 3Ws, theteenwhisperer.co.uk for more resources, or to follow me on social media on Instagram at the Teen Whisperer for tips during the weekly tips and relatable mum moments. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.